This is a book review of Reckless by Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, as well as Jacob Phillips. This is from Image Comics. The book came out in 2020, just December 2020. It's just been released, 144 pages, and it's by Image Comics. There's the back of the book. Now, this is a graphic novel. It hasn't been done in comics, etc. This is completely a new format they've been going for in terms of bringing out a series of books, graphic novels, in this sort of hardback editions. And it's just quickly, there's real nice quality paper, absolutely glorious. And there's the credits, details there, Image Comics, and then onto the book itself. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips have been bringing out loads of great books, all sort of crime-themed books, and this one is a crime-themed book. And I just want to point out the size of this one, the Reckless one. Slightly unusual size, because I've got this one here, Pulp, which was excellent. Bad Week, End, love that. But the size is slightly smaller and slightly bit wider, which is slightly odd. You think they would have gotten consistently the same size. But I mean, I love the look really nice on the shelf, but it is slightly odd that you can see it's slightly taller. Isn't that weird? But you've got also Cruel Summer. And now Cruel Summer, and I'm going to bring that one over, is slightly bigger. I wish there was a consistency in terms of size. So you've got Cruel Summer, that's slightly bigger. Brilliant book as well. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, My Heroes, and again, slightly different size again. Very odd. Yeah, it's very, they all seem to be slightly different. Now, of course, you've also got here Fate. I love this one. This is a sort of movie one that I just thoroughly enjoyed. Absolutely, this was my first one I picked up from there, and ever since I've been getting all their books, and I just absolutely loved that one. Fade Out, and also Velvet. Now there's Fatale. I haven't got Fatale. I would love to get that. I've got that all in comic books, and I've also got Kill or Be Killed all in comic books. There's also all the criminals in comic books, but I haven't got them in the massive volumes. I've got volume 3 coming soon. But this one obviously is bigger as well, so you can see it just covers that completely. So it's slightly odd. Now I'm just going to quickly move those out of the way. As always with these books by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, basically there's lots of sex, crime, drugs, murder, and lots of some sun-drenched 80s LA. That's where the story's set. And it's got some flashbacks to the 60s. So you've got absolutely like a sort of pulp detective investigator, and the character Ethan's character, this is where it starts. You've got this initial scene that doesn't look much is happening until you see like the bodies and things. Straight away you know there's going to be some trouble. And you've got some characters here. You've got this character obviously with a machete there, and you've got Ethan as well in this part. And then we go back 2 weeks earlier. I always love that in story. Actually, I always find that confusing in stories. When I'm watching a film, suddenly it jumps back. As long as it says 2 weeks earlier, it's always nice to suddenly know you flash back a bit. And you've got this, obviously, because he's a surfer as well, so that's quite a nice little connection with the storyline, with the sea there. And you've got, obviously, the characters going along there on the beach, and you've got all the cars, usually, and into the cinema. This is where the main character, Ethan, lives. He got this from a deal that he did because he was doing investigation. There's all sort of, I think there was some photos, apparently some problematic photos. And because of that, he ended up with this lovely cinema. And he's got his assistant, Annie, who sort of gets him jobs that go and do. And there's one here that's about a car, which of course there's nothing to do. There's no connection with that, the car bit. But you've got, obviously, he's just looking at all these great films. And she's a bit sceptical about this, sort of, obviously, straight away. But this guy goes off with this job that's a woman called Rainey. She finds out, of course, is this woman from his past. So then you've got the story develops. Again, lots of twists and turns. So it's not straightforward. This woman, obviously, like any of the characters in this, you don't know whether what you think they are at the end. So it's got lots of, the colouring is beautiful all the way through this. Absolutely love the colouring. I wasn't so enamoured, I have to say this time, with the inking. I don't know, some of it was, to me, was quite loose, too loose for my taste personally. I like a little bit sharper inking. That's just me. I'm certain that other people will come to this and absolutely love this, but I just thought that at times I just felt that some of the hand, like that, the hand, just it's not particularly detailed. But anyway, the story flow, the panel structure, all that absolutely worked, and I love the use of this as well. The lettering, I love the lettering here, and also the giving the story along there, just very effective. And that's all the way through. Actually, there's quite a lot of that. There's not, when you look at some of these scenes, quite a lot of it doesn't actually have any actual word balloons or anything. It's only later when, actually very often, it's just quite often, hello Rainey, hello Donny, sort of stuff. But the colouring, look at that beautiful colouring, absolutely. And this is the main woman of the story. You've got here Rainey. Again, I suspect that that wasn't her real name. But there's also lots of other characters involved in the story. It's not just this character, but there's also lots of other sort of government people. There's also lots of thugs. There's people in bars that are very unpleasant people, and lots of drugs, sex, rock and roll, all the way through the book. And look at that glorious colouring. Now I'll just quickly flick through the book, and there you've got a lovely scene where waiting in the dark. Again, his beautiful purples there. I just think the purples are absolutely glorious. Beautifully. Now, there's not a huge amount of those single page shots. So you haven't got quite a lot of it. It's just, but actually it's got no sharp edge around. There's no sort of, obviously, border there. It's sort of very much just a lovely, I don't know what the word is, without the border. So it's very well done. And the story goes through, and actually you learn a little bit about various characters, and I don't want to say anything about that character, but it's very violent. So you can just see there someone getting bashed on the nose, and also, again, lots of various dubious characters. And there's lots of blood all the way through it. And that's why I'm just going to go to the end, and don't want to show the end, so I'm going to just show. That's the end, of course, black. Always strange, I always think, when they do books like that, when they suddenly just two black, but you think, couldn't they have just put something else? Wouldn't that have been just, no, I don't, that's not part of the story, I don't think it's black. But it's just odd, you think black. But it does go on to the afterword. I love afterwards, I love forwards as well. I always think it's got, and actually that's one criticism I have of the book, other than the slight scratchiness of the artwork, wasn't my favourite kind, compared with, and I have to point out, my favourite, I love this one, Fade Out. But still, thoroughly, you could work out all the characters, who they were, all the way it flowed all the way through. But it's got this afterward, and it's always loved these. But I wish there would have been a few more of those. That would have been really good. Because that's always what I love about the comic books. You get the Ed Brubaker comics and John Phillips, and they've always got these lovely essays in them, and I just love those essays. And often when he talks about the films and TV that he's watching and stuff, I do miss that. It would have been nice if he'd sort of talked about a little bit of what his lockdown viewing was over the, because he must have watched loads of great shows over this period, and it would have been nice to have had that in this book. But anyway, but the next one, again, it slightly spoils it, but anyway, anyone looking and ordering books will know straight away that there's a new one coming out, Friend of the Devil. So you've got that advertised in the back there. Look out for the next thrill ride in April. And then you've got Process. You've got the Process, all the artwork, and it's got a page of the script, and then the drawing there. Also the cover artwork for that. And how obviously changes and changing the ideas. And then you've got the look for more from Brubaker and Phillips. You've got all the various. Now, I love Fatal, Fatal, I always call it. That's superb, really good. I've got that in the comic book form. I wish I'd got. We'd love it if it comes out again. The volumes come out. I will be buying those. You've got the criminal ones there. Fade Out. I love that. Kill or Be Killed. I didn't get that volume. Slightly regret that I didn't get it, but I've been following it and bought every single issue. I just couldn't. I don't know. Too late now. I think the prices have gone up a bit. So. And there's some more at the back. And actually this advertises the next Criminal Deluxe Volume 3, which shows completely pointless why I didn't buy Kill or Be Killed, because obviously I've got most of the artwork in that, most of the work in that as well. I haven't got those ones. Criminal Volume 1 and 2. Now I hope they re-release those because they're out. They've been out of print for a while. Well, certainly, I think there was talk about them being re-released. So hopefully that is the case. And also there's some other ones there: Bad Weekend, My Heroes, and Cruel Summer, and Pulp. So there's obviously some more works to check out. So I absolutely love this. This is Reckless by Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Just good. You can see the general gist of the story. Just quite simple. Just there, and also, of course, lovely car explosion. I love that. Actually, this is quite a bit that slightly unusual. You've got Annie there. Why she is massively portrayed. I mean, lovely picture, but it's very unusual since she's actually fairly minor character in the story compared with obviously Rainey and Wilder and obviously Ethan there. Ethan Reckless. Out of business. That's quite weird, isn't it? The way it's just hanging. There's no sort of sport. You would think they would have had the cinema at the background. But I think the white effect is quite effective. Though I must admit, there is always some part of me that they do white there. They obviously like that white background. I'm not so keen on white background covers because I always find that after a while they always end up getting finger marks. You quite often, especially if you've read a paper or something, and then you come to it, and then you suddenly see smudge marks all over the back. But anyway, I suppose when you've got that explosion on the front, it's not going to matter too much and that sort of thing. So, Reckless, totally brilliantly recommended.